Thank you, Lania. Please give it up for Lania, our MC. Yeah, and also give it up for the band. Yeah, our awesome Seattle Family Church band. You know, I think about them every single week and I'm like, wow, they show up every single Sunday. They show up more than we all do, right? Right? Am I right? But yeah, whenever you see them, please thank them. Today we'll be taking them out to lunch at a Brazilian steakhouse. So yeah, that would just be to express our gratitude as Seattle Family Church. And actually that idea came up because sometime, okay, I forget the year. I don't remember if it was last year. No, it was the year before or last year. Anyways, Mother was in America, in Las Vegas, and we happened to be there. She heard that we were there. So there were some second-gen leaders, and she said, I want to take them out. And we found out that she wanted to take us out to a Brazilian steakhouse in Las Vegas. And with that, I felt I want to express that love that Mother gave us to our beautiful Seattle Family Church band. So that's what we're going to do for all the effort that they've put to putting together our Seattle Family Church band and the environment within our community every single Sunday. Yeah. And actually, if you think about it, our band has become so lively. This is the first time I've been in the back, and the music sounds so beautiful compared to being in the front. So I'm not saying sit in the back. What I'm saying is they're doing so wonderful that the music is not just limited to here, but it's expressing itself all the way backwards, right? Yeah, so I really appreciate them. So today we're going to have a community kind of experience, not your typical kind of experience, but we had this last month, right? Yeah, we'll be sharing a reading together and then going into discussion together as a group, as a community. And you, at this time, you can feel free to share your experiences, your thoughts, but also be mindful of those around you. You're on your table, so you can give them an opportunity to share as well. And this is a time to hear not just each other as just hearing each other's thoughts and opinions, but think of this as an experience where you're hearing maybe what God wants you to hear today. It could be a question that is being responded through somebody else, right? God expresses himself or responds to us in many different ways, and it could be through the person right next to us sometimes. And this experience, a funny experience I had was, I was talking to this random lady. I think she was just a new member in New Jersey, and she just stopped both me and my husband, and we were listening to her share, and I realized we were listening for 2 hours. And I was like, okay, at some point I need to cut her off, like we need to go. But then this thought was like, maybe let me just give her 5 more minutes, 2 hours, 5 minutes, 5 more minutes and hear what God wants to tell me. Maybe there's something that's I'm supposed to hear today. I mean, for the first 2 hours, but maybe the extra 5 minutes I would hear. And actually, within those 5 minutes, she shared what I realized was what I asked God, which was I was contemplating whether to go to the Chonchimon in Las Vegas or not. And it was just going to be for a 7-day experience. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go. 7 days is too long. I don't want to sit through lectures. I was just like, I don't want to do it, God, but I feel like I need a spiritual experience. And so within those 5 minutes, she said to me, I think you should go away for 2 weeks. And I was like, what's that supposed to mean? I don't even know you, but, and then I thought about it. It's like, wait, that's what I've been asking God. Like, what should I do? Like, should I go or just, because that meant that I would need to put my mission on pause and focus on the spiritual experience. And then, yeah, and right after she said that, I was like, oh, that's what I asked God, and this is my response. She could have said that 2 hours before, but in that moment, I was like, this is what God wanted me to hear, or God was trying to respond to me. And then I said, okay, later after, I got back home, I was like, okay, God, I'm going to do this. I don't know how, but I'm going to go to the 7-day experience in Las Vegas. And then a few days later, my central figure at the time, Pastor Naokimi, he called me and he's like, I'm thinking we go to Las Vegas. And I was like, why are we going to Las Vegas? He's like, I'm thinking we do a 7-day workshop. And I was like, oh, you know what? I was thinking the same too. So yeah, God responds to us in many different ways. These are just examples, but I just wanted to say this is a time for us as a community to also just hear God through each other, right? Yeah, and so we'll go into our reading, and the reading today is the meaning of faith. And I'll start with True Father's words. Next slide. Wait, I got it. Oh, there we go. All right, some of you may have a piece of paper right in front of you. If you don't, actually there's some extras on different tables. Cindy, could you help move to distribute to those who don't have? But yeah, if you don't have a piece of the reading, we have it on screen, so please feel free to follow the screen as well. The meaning of faith. You have to find the root of love, namely the love of God. St. Paul said, and now abide faith, hope, love, these three, but the greatest of these is love. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 13. What is faith? In Chinese character, the character Shin means faith. If we remove from the Shin character the In character, meaning person, a human being, the Un character, meaning word, remains. Then, faith means person's word, and words mean to form a relationship between two people. If there's no relationship, there's no talking. Therefore, we speak. The reciprocal basis must first exist. And to form a relationship, we must have faith. From where does such a basis come? It comes from ties that come to exist through love. But those ties cannot be formed at will. They are formed because, first, the conditions for the power to form such ties existed, and the basis of each other's goal could coincide. What we call faith is to pursue the personality of a true person. Furthermore, attaining such a personality is to lead a life of faith. The Korean word for faith is shinang. In Chinese character, the character shin, faith, consists of the left side radical, in, a person, and the character on, a word basically. Furthermore, the character ang, to have respect, is also written with the, oh, wait, am I following this? Oh, if the tech could help me out here, I'm keeping up on my paper, sorry. The ang character also includes the aspect of a person. It is the way to go centered on a person. To respect does not mean respect towards oneself, but rather towards a highly regarded object. From such a perspective, we shall attain true words. A life of faith is for the purpose of bringing a direction through those words. When we think about this thing called faith, Its object is not one person, but God. It is the way to go having God as the object. In other words, there will be a relationship of subject and object between God and myself, and all that is done by the subject reaches the object, and everything realized by the object must be connected to the subject. Without such a relationship, you cannot become a person in harmony with God's will. And now, True Mother's words. God expects from us the same absolute faith, absolute love, and absolute obedience that he expected from the first human ancestors. So we cannot give in to self-centered thinking or personal opinions. Even if we have beliefs we have treasured for decades, if we're given to realize that our understanding of truth is incomplete, we must respond with complete faith. That is the path of a true child. Isn't it the mother that takes 99.99% responsibility for childbearing? You have heard this since long ago. Even though you knew this, when, after 60 years, I said that I am the only begotten daughter, you were not one with me on that, were you? No one really was. As I have said, the only begotten daughter was born in 1943, and this only begotten daughter had to be born with the support of a Christian foundation. The development of the Christian church in Korea was shaped in large part of Presbyterian missionaries. Presbyterianism arose from the teachings of John Calvin, who helped institute the religious reforms of Martin Luther. Calvin's influence on Christianity appeared especially in the Puritan movement. After the crucifixion of Jesus, Christians, knowing neither the true nature of our Creator nor of Jesus, waited for Christ to return and developed a system of faith based upon an incomplete understanding. This resulted in many problems. Thus, Luther's call for religious reform led to a Reformation in 1957, and Calvin, one generation later, solidified Protestantism into a positive social force. It is notable that Puritans shaped the development of the United States, a nation established by God as a foundation for true parents. This year, 2020, marks 400 years since the Puritans arrived in America. These 400 years are an important period in providential history. That country has been going through a presidential election to select a nation's leader, and it has become a Cain-Abel struggle, hasn't it? Whether that nation can stand in a position to fulfill its responsibility will depend on who understands heaven's providence and attends God. Korea will come to have an important role in this area. And from the Bible, Matthew chapter 14, verse 22 to 33. Peter walks on water. Jesus came walking to the sea. Peter said, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." Peter walked towards him, but when he saw the wind, he became afraid and began to sink. Jesus reached out and said, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" All right, that's the conclusion of the readings. And for the discussion questions, we'll be sharing about what stood out to you in the reading. What does faith mean to you? And the third question is, in these times of trials, how can we continue nurturing our faith? And you don't have to respond to all three. You can choose which one stood out to you more, or which one you want to respond to, so that everybody on the table also has a chance to share. And with that, let's start our sharing. Please join me in prayer. Our Heavenly Parent, your parents, Jesus, we are grateful for this wonderful new Sunday. Heavenly Parent, thank you for this new week. We're really grateful for your continuous guidance, your love in our lives, Heavenly Parent. Heavenly Parent, in today's reading, we were sharing about the meaning of faith, Heavenly Parent, what that looks like. And we've come to understand that the root of faith is love, Heavenly Parent. Love towards you, love towards one another, Heavenly Parent. We're really grateful that we have our true parents, Heavenly Parents, and at this moment we're able to learn and understand this truth so that we can be able to form a relationship with you, Heavenly Parent. You who loves us, who created us out of love, and who never gave up on us. No matter how many times we walked away, how many times we doubted, Heavenly Parent, you still held our hands. You still continue to hold our hands and guide us, Heavenly Parent, in our day-to-day lives. So this week, as we experience this week, we really invite your presence into our lives. I pray that you can walk with each and every one that is gathered here, all our members of Seattle Family Church. Heavenly Parent, be a part of their experience, Heavenly Parent. I pray that you bless them and love them and, just be their Heavenly Parent. I thank you so much. I invite you into this moment as we'll be sharing lunch with the Bento Bazaar that was wonderfully prepared by our Kodan moms, Heavenly Parent. Thank you so much, and I offer this prayer in attendance to Holy Mother Han. I pray in my name and be Rangala Maddox of a blessed family. Adieu. All right, thank you everyone. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the Bento Bazaar, and we'll see you next Sunday.